All right. I'm with Dr. Jim Catt from Medford, Oregon, where I actually used to live for 17 years, and thought I'd just do a couple minutes to introduce Dr. Jim Catt and maybe have him share a couple things about his journey a little bit and the process through growth into greatness. And we're actually here at the Rainbow Retreat Lodge for our co-discovery case presentation retreat, which this is Jim's second time coming back. And actually, Jim worked with my partner Deb for a year back in when you were 27, right?
Yep,
27 years old.
27.
And that was a couple years ago. 2 years.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
so you went through the organizational systems with your team, and then a couple years ago, we worked with you again because you had a new team and you transitioned to a new location. And
Yeah.
so I just thought because I don't really, I lived in Medford, and you were one of the first doctors we ever worked with. And then recently you've been worked with Deb with some doctors in Medford.
Yeah. We
To
had
help them with
three
some of
doctors.
with some of the systems that you learned on profitability versus production, overhead, health, all these things that you've been working on for 20 years.
Yeah. I think, one of the reasons I signed up again was, part of it was the change within my practice, for sure, but the other part of it was when we met in Arizona, and the changes that you explained that had happened within the organization itself.
Right.
And that made it, you happened to be offering some things that I was actually feeling like I needed, that had evolved through years. So that was another big reason I signed up, was not only the evolution in my practice, but the evolution with the organization was helpful for what I needed. So
what do you feel like when you said sign up? Like, what were the reasons, the whys for you? What was the big difference between the work that you did through Growth into Greatness with Deb? Because a lot of dentists, they've had consultants before, they either like them or they don't like them, or their team old consultants. What was the big difference in the Growth into Greatness process, or Deb, and the philosophy that you could share with people that maybe was different?
Well, I think the first time that I signed up, I was young. I started practicing when I was 24.
Yep.
Started working with, had a mentor, and I was associating with him, and he left. We parted our ways because it was, the contract had matured, and now I had his practice and my practice, and I really didn't know a lot about gig at the time. I just knew you. You'd come to me as a friend. We kind of talked, and I kind of took that leap of faith with you as Mark Bodiato, not really with gig at all. And so because I needed help.
Yes.
It wasn't that the practice was floundering. It was just on the contrary. It was just overwhelming my life.
Right.
And it was, led to personal issues and so on and so forth. And the second time that we worked together was, again, my practice was doing really well.
Yeah.
And, but I needed more balance in my life, again.
Yeah.
And I think that that was the main thing, Mark, was I knew you, I knew Deb. I loved working with Deb. You guys had a dentist on board at the time, and that was, having that input I thought was going to be helpful for me at the time. And having your character, Deb's character, and involved in the strategy for me to move forward with my practice was huge. So it wasn't so much about cookie cutter methods to make this happen or make this work. It was about a holistic approach in life, in practice health, in employees, taking care of the 10 people that work for me. So, and that was also, that was another part of a huge reason I signed up, was I kind of did it for my team as well, even though there was pushback, as there always is. Having somebody come in and, you know, take an outsider look at your practice.
Right.
But I told them that this was for team balance as well, because they were feeling the whole hamster wheel issue as well.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, I was looking for a different solution than was offered many places.
And the thing is, I'm glad you mentioned that balance, because I think even today in consulting, I'm not just saying it but it's just most consulting or coaching is still push harder. More production is the answer. And like my father-in-law always said at the business school, it's about profitability, balance. But the thing is, how do you get there? How do you start? And then how do you slow down? Because most men will not slow down their practice or see less patients unless they know they can do that without being economically challenged. Yeah. Because you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the team. And how can that happen where you can actually see less patients and be more profitable? Yeah. And overhead, all the systems, the team getting involved and understanding how that affects time, money, and energy, and you understanding it as the leader of the practice, so you can help your people to get that balance with you, is huge. Yeah. And the help. That's the thing I always tell people, is that the greatest investment you can make in the practice is not the new laser, the new building. Remember, I challenged you on that a little bit, going to a new building. It's the people. The most important piece is growing your people. You want to grow your business, make it more balanced, grow the people on the entrepreneurial, the business, the organization, the communication, how we can engage, your core values, the culture, and get your people involved in maturing them. You're the, you know, whether you like it or not, you're like the father of the practice. You're the protector. And so how can you protect the people, grow them, provide for them? And not that it's going to be perfect. Team's going to leave. But if you can get 2 or 3 people to help you create that, what a huge thing. And that's what you've done twice. I mean, you've taken them with you, you invested it with them, and so what would you say to just to wrap this up, I guess, is what would you say to a dentist who's thinking about, or like, because you talk to a lot of dentists and they're struggling, a lot of them are struggling right now still, and they have ups and downs. And like we talked about here yesterday at the lodge, only 1% of dentists retire with $3 million after practicing 30 years, only 3% with $1 million, and they're like working hard, trying to make it. But what would you say to a young dentist or someone who's been practicing, what would you say to them about the future of dentistry and what the possibilities are?
I think that the future is whatever you make of it. And the most important aspect that you get out of working with either Deb or Mark are leadership skills, and knowing how to implement those leadership skills for the betterment of your practice. And it's a process, and it doesn't happen quickly. And I would say that working with somebody outside your practice, that can have an objective look at not only your practice, but as the father of the practice, is critical. And people always worry about the money. I mean, that's like the biggest obstacle, is the money thing. And I mean, I mean, you can't help but not recoup that money. I mean, it happens. If you put dentists in general they want the best for their people, and they want the best for their practice, and they want the best for their families. Yep. And they're going to invest, but they just need to be put on the proper trajectory to do that. And that happens with you guys. Yeah. You guys get people on the right path. The 3 practices that I worked with, they were awesome people. They just didn't know where to go. Or
I think that what you said was key. I think what we give, like even the other coaches we have, like Barb and Amanda, is the clarity. We give you clarity, which clarity gives you power in a good way and gives you confidence to move forward with a clear direction. And direction is more valuable because direction helps you to reach your destination, whatever that destination is. Everybody's different. There's no cookie cutter, like you said. And, you know, that's why we only work with maybe 8 or 9 practices a year. We're not trying to, but you got to go deep and clarify your vision, your goals, your why, and that's what you've done for 20 years. Keep going deeper, and it's been cool to see. I mean, we're friends, and Medford. I lived in Medford for 17 years, and I escaped to Medford. No, I went, but you're a brother and love you, and you've gone through a lot, and we've been together for a long time, and so I'm just excited that you're keeping on the journey.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting old, I need people to keep me in.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys too, and I mean, it was life-changing for me, and for my family, so, and for the practice, and for all of my patients, and for all of my staff. It's just, it's defining for sure. Yeah.
Well,
Good. Thank you so much.
All right.